G'day and welcome to the show. Today's the third episode in a 4-part journey from Coober Pedy right through to the edge of the Kimberley. And it's all been brought to you thanks to our good mates at Lotus Caravans and the Caravan Industry Association of Australia. Now today we're going to be hitting the Tanami track, which is one of the roughest tracks in Australia. So strap your false teeth in as we show you what's up down under.
It's time to see this land of wonder. It's time to go and see what's up down under. What's up down under?
On this journey, we started in Coober Pedy and had a good look around town before heading off to Kings Creek Station. Then we travelled on to Alice Springs where we enjoyed the Camel Cup before exploring the mighty Tanami track, which we'll be doing today. Then we'll be finishing off our journey in Fitzroy Crossing. And with us on this journey, we're lucky enough to have my mate Borgie with me. He's towing the Trooper, while I'll be towing the off-grid thanks to our mates at Lotus Caravans. Now, as we showed at the end of last episode, we were packing up in Alice Springs and getting everything ready to go and explore the Tanami track. Well, the next day, we got up bright and early and did some final checks.
So we're going to punch out of here early this morning. One thing to remember while you're doing that is to be courteous to the neighbours and the other people in the park. Just because you want to jump out early doesn't mean you've got to bang everything around and wake a lot of them up. It's the best way to become the most hated bloke in the park. Shh.
One thing I've learned the hard way a few too many times is to make sure you do the idiot check around the caravan. And what I mean by that is just to make sure everything is good to go before you hit the road. And it's the little things like making sure this here is all the way up, like I forgot this morning. So I'll whack that up there. But a couple of other things to keep an eye on is make sure that hitch is always hitched up. And these latches here, give them a good knock before you head off as well. Sometimes they don't latch up properly, you end up down the highway and down they come.
And just like that, we said goodbye to the McDonald Range Holiday Park and we were on our way to explore the Tanami. Now along these roads you'll see some rest stops and it's important to know which ones are right for you. I want to take a moment to talk about coexisting out on the road with the other road users, namely the trucks. During the day, it's important we do that by using our UHFs and the other etiquettes that we use on the road, such as our indicators, to let the trucks know what we're doing. So as much as we're on holidays out there enjoying ourselves, the truck drivers are still out there trying to earn a buck, and we've got to coexist with them. But the important part is that when we pull up at night, make sure you pull up at somewhere that's not going to interfere with the truck drivers. They're trying to fit in with legislation like logbooks that says they have to pull up at certain times for certain amounts of times. Now, I'd rather know that the truck coming towards me on the road is being driven by a bloke who's had good brakes and he's wide awake, and I'm sure you'd agree with me. If there's an area that's designated just for RVs, make sure you use that area. If there's an area designated for trucks, please don't pull in there. If there's no designated areas and we've got to share, get in, make sure you leave them plenty of room and don't go banging on the truck driver's door at 2 o'clock in the morning to let him know his fridge is running. As we hit the dirt, there was a couple of things we had to sort out so that we could ensure a safe journey. So we've just hit the dirt on the Tanami and it's time to let some air out of our tyres. It is dead important we do that because your tyre actually becomes an integral part of your suspension system from here on in. It's why it's also important to have good off-road tyres, because the sidewalls are stronger than a highway tyre. It lets you let the air out without causing any damage to the sidewalls. So we're going to go around. I'm going to drop them down to about 26 to start with, which sounds low, but let me assure you, it's a good starting point on a corrugated dirt road.
One thing to keep an eye out on dusty, dirty roads is these door seals. Now you want to make sure they're adjusted nice and evenly between the two, and the reason you want to do that is to make sure this seal here doesn't let any dust inside. So the idea is to basically get them up here, and you want them nice and evenly across the two, plenty of pressure across basically the top here, and that way the seal is pinched nice and tight, you won't get any dirt in there. Now the adjustment comes from these little levers here. What you want to do is basically adjust them forward and back, up and down the thread until you get the right sort of tension on the seal here, and you'll be good to go.
One of the great things about making the northern migration during the Australian winter is you get to do the striptease along the way. You'll notice the jeans and the boots have disappeared and the shorts and the thongs have replaced them, and I am feeling better already. Now, life didn't come with many guarantees, but one guarantee there is if you tow caravans down dirt roads, you're gonna get dust in them. But I'll give you a little hint as to how to keep it out. The off-road caravan came with what's called a pressure hatch. Open up that little pressure hatch up there, puts positive pressure inside the caravan, forcing air out through those gaps, and guess what?
no dust.
Now, to plan your holiday journey to a beautiful area like this, our mates at the Caravan Industry Association of Australia can help. Just visit letsgocaravanandcamping.com.au. It's your guide to caravan, RV and holiday parks across Australia. Now, we're almost ready to get going again, but we still have a couple of more things to do. And while we do that, why don't you check out what's on for the rest of the show today? On today's show, we'll be giving you plenty of tips on how to handle tough roads. And I'll be preparing a bush way of cooking pizza. But stick around, because coming up after the break, we'll be exploring the mighty Tanami track.
What's up down under?
This journey has been proudly brought to you by our great mates at Lotus Caravans. For more information on their range, jump onto lotuscaravans.com.au. After our final checks, we were off and running on one of the roughest roads in the country. The road conditions are constantly changing here. There's areas where there's been a grader, and there's areas where I don't know that it's ever seen a grader. So the corrugations there are pretty full on. Now, driving on corrugations can be a little bit of a suck it and see type scenario, because if you drive too slow on them, it will absolutely shake you to pieces. So the idea is to try and get up on top of the corrugations. The problem is, in order to do that, you've basically got to drive a little bit faster than everyone else who made the corrugations, which means you've got up to the top end of the speed range you should be on that track, which is fine when you're going straight, but when you come to a corner, particularly when you're towing, you may be going a little bit too quick. So it's all the time looking at the road conditions and trying to work out what speed you can get to minimise the vibration and the shaking of all your gear and yourself, and being going too quick to be able to handle any situation that might pop up on you. So I just say, when you first get out and drive these sorts of roads, just take your time. You'll get sick of the slow bumps soon enough and work out how to get your speed up and get over them. Get out there, enjoy yourself, and most of all, take in the scenery. People say tracks like this, there's nothing to look at. Well, you haven't had a look. There's just constantly things to look at out here, whether it be wildlife, livestock, landforms. There's just some amazing rock features out here, and always something to look at. And remember too, when you're on these roads, you're in wavy world. When someone comes the other way, give them a wave. That's what we're out here for, to enjoy each other's company.
Travelling on dirt roads in a convoy, the one thing you've got to try and avoid is getting in each other's dust. Now, there's big blooms of dust, and they're not going to do much good for your visibility. So if you're heading back a few car spaces behind the main body of dust, that's probably your best bet. But really, the further away the better, because you don't want that dust getting sucked into your snorkel, into your engine. I'll tell you what, that's going to cause some drama. So hang right back, give each other plenty of room. Not a race, you're on holidays.
We're going to keep pushing up the road and look for a campsite for the night, and while we do that, why don't you check this out from our mates at Optitech. How many times have you looked at that tight storage spot in the backyard and thought, I wish I could get the van in there? How many times have you had a domestic dispute just getting the van onto a site at the park? Well, the team at Optitech have got all that covered and more with their jockey wheel. Let's check it out. Simply attach your new best friend where your old jockey wheel used to go, grab your remote control, stand back and watch the magic happen. Now, I've just moved this caravan off the bitumen onto the gravel, and it's not even a level surface, and guess what? Didn't even crack a sweat. The Optitech jockey wheel simply operates off your 12-volt system, and another great feature is that if you've got a boat or a box trailer, bolt him on, use it on that as well. So there you go, with the Optitech jockey wheel you can really put your caravan anywhere you want it. So if you want to get rid of all the pushing, shoving and pressure out of your life, just get an Optitech jockey wheel. Go to optitech.com.au. Stick around, because coming up after the break, it's pizza time out in the bush.
What's up down under?
This show proudly brought to you by Stratton Finance. You find a way to escape, Stratton will find a finance deal that's right for you. Visit stratton.com.au/WUDU for more details.
The key to a trip like this is staying in a great van or camper trailer, like these vans from Lotus Caravans. The accreditation program from the Caravan Industry Association of Australia was created to help the consumer make the best choices when purchasing a caravan, camper or motorhome. They've made it simple, so ensure that you're purchasing from an accredited manufacturer. Just look for the RV map key. You can find out more and view the list of accredited members by visiting caravanindustry.com.au. Now, after a long day's drive, it was time for us to find a nice quiet spot and set up camp for the night. And it doesn't get much better than camping out under the stars with some great mates. The only thing that makes it more special is having the Lotus Trooper with you. Well, it's no secret that Lotus Caravans are known for their off-road caravans, and it's also no secret that the Trooper is the top of the range. But if you're just at a showroom or a caravan show, the only way you could know that is by looking at those big wheels and that tough chassis. That's why I've brought it out to its natural environment, the Tanami track, to have a look at it out here. Now, it's well known that the Tanami track is notorious for being able to destroy anything a man can make, but the control rider suspension underneath the Trooper is the first step in stopping that from happening. On top of that, a GNS chassis, and then we go on and we build the Trooper, and the guys at Lotus have been doing it for many years. So you're looking at something that's designed to come out here and handle the conditions, but it's designed to let you do it in a high level of comfort. You can sit out here under the million stars that you'll find out in this country, but do it without sacrificing any of the comforts you're used to. A slide-out kitchen that you can fit if you choose. There are choices for you to make when you're picking your Lotus Trooper. And then you've got storage out here to boot, and I mean literally to boot. You've got gas bottles on the outside, firewood holder, jerry can holder, a roll-out awning. The list just continues on and on. And if you're wondering whether the things you can't see in the caravan are up to scratch, the key beside the door will tell you that they are. It's the RV map key. And that's the accreditation that Lotus Caravans have got that says they do everything right. Let's go inside. Just have a look around inside the Trooper. We've got a full kitchen, oven, hot plates, a fridge, ensuite, this leather lounge and table, so you've got somewhere to sit and eat in comfort, air conditioning, microwave. You've got a battery system and solar system that will allow you to stay out here and be self-sufficient, and when it's time to turn in, queen size bed. That ought to keep you comfortable. So if you want any more information on the Trooper or any of the other caravans in the Lotus Caravans range, just go to lotuscaravans.com.au. Once we'd set up camp, someone had to step up and cook dinner for the crew, and as usual, that someone was me. Well, it's that time of the day again, time to put the nose bag on. We've pulled up stumps and set up camp, and it's time to feed the hungry crew. Now, one of the games we play on the road all day is, what are we going to have for dinner? Basically, when we head off on a trip like this, we fill the fridges up with all sorts of food, and then during the day as we drive, we discuss what everyone wants. And today is pizza day. Now, I know that sounds hard to do out in the bush, but it's actually not. One of the most common tools that we carry is the jaffle iron. So what we've got here are some of the ingredients that we normally carry. So we've got some shredded ham, we've got some pepperoni, we've got some mild salami for those who don't like the pepperoni, we've got some cheese, and we've got some tomato sauce. Now, the other thing we always carry are pizza bases. Just these little ones because they fit inside the jaffle iron just nicely. The other thing we've got is just some frozen garlic bread that we carry, and that also goes in the jaffle iron. Now, the other thing we've got with us that always includes lots of conversation is tinned pineapple. Now, it fires off the conversation every time because there are some people who say pineapple shouldn't go anywhere near a pizza, and there's other people who says pineapple should be all you have on a pizza. What we're going to do is we're going to open up our jaffle iron and put our pizza base in there, just like that. The next thing we're going to do is start adding our ingredients. Now, first of all, I'm going to put some pizza sauce on the bottom. Secret is, less is best. So, first cab off the rank, some cheese. Now, I learnt this today. Apparently, we'll put this on first, not last. Otherwise, it all sticks to the top. So, we go a bit of cheese. I'm going to go some pepperoni. I might go some shredded ham on that. A little bit more cheese on top because I can't be told. Bit of top day out on the road, actually. Caravans are going well. Rough conditions, dusty as, but they've stood up to it better than us, I can tell you. A couple of pieces of garlic bread in there, shut the top, lock off our little handle here, and then
I'm going to move those over to the fire. I'm going to pull some coals out and we're going to start the cooking process. I'll see you in a minute. Well, there you go, on the plate. I reckon that looks absolutely perfect. I would say 10 out of 10. I would not be surprised at all if I was off to the Olympics for making pizza. I reckon I've had a win today. And if you'd like to have a win as well, why don't you check out our competitions both online or on the show like this one.
What's Up Down Under, Camper Trailer Lifestyle and Stratton Finance have teamed up with Windsor Caravans and Kamek to bring you this year's major prize valued at over $52,000. You could win this awesome Windsor Hybrid XC and put yourself in the most remote areas and enjoy the comforts of home. The Windsor Hybrid XC is uniquely designed for the campers that love the outdoor lifestyle. The major prize includes a complete outdoor lifestyle pack from our mates at Kamek, including these heavy-duty door mirrors. Place your free entry every day by visiting the What's Up Down Under or Camper Trailer Lifestyle websites. Follow the links to the competition page. It's that easy. There's more chances to win with our runner-up prizes. Win one of 10 Family Parks $100 gift vouchers and one of 5 $500 gift vouchers from our new mates at Bob Jane T-Marts. The Windsor Hybrid Camper Trailer Outdoor Lifestyle Competition has begun. So enter now and get outdoors.
Stick around because coming up after the break, we do a bit more exploring along the Tanami track.
What's up down under?
This journey has been proudly brought to you by our great mates at Bob Jane T-Marts. For more information on their products and services, jump onto bobjane.com.au. Eagle Trailers and Campers are giving you the chance to win a brand new Warrior 12-foot off-road hybrid caravan. Valued at over $39,000, the Warrior is the perfect agile and luxurious companion for your next adventure. All you have to do is go to caravancampingclassifieds.com.au and subscribe to the free e-mags and buyer's guides. Subscribe today.
If you're purchasing a new RV, make sure it displays the RV map key. Find out why your RV map key is the key to your peace of mind at caravanindustry.com.au.
Well, if you're chasing any more information on anything you've seen on today's episode, our online magazine will be the perfect spot for you to find it. Just go to our website, whatsupdownunder.com.au, click on the magazines tab, download the magazine or subscribe to them and they'll just come to you in future. After another great night under the stars, we were busy packing up and getting ready for another big day on the road. Tracks like the Tanami, you won't find a lot of designated camping areas, so it's up to you to find a spot to spend the night. What I'd ask you to do is to be respectful to the landowners around here and just have a chat with them if you happen to see them, and if you don't, pull up and make sure you leave the place as you found it. Make sure your fire's out, there's no rubbish laying around, and don't leave any marks of where you've been. Now what we do is probably along the lines of what used to be the old country code, which was burn, bash and bury. Now we don't bury anymore, it's bad for the environment. But any tins that you use, throw them in the fire for a while, it'll burn all the juice out of them, pull them out, they become easier to crush up, which means your bag of rubbish is smaller than if the cans were in their full shape. And guess what? At the other end, you haven't got a heap of bags full of maggots to get rid of. Once we were all packed up, we were back on the road ready for another big day of driving. Something about drives like this in Australia that just remind me why I come out here. The freedom that you will experience driving these sorts of tracks, you won't find anywhere else in Australia. I'm coming back. A track like this, it's not like going for a Sunday drive. You do have to put your head around it before you come out. Think about the things that you may need. Without carrying too much gear, of course, that's always the balancing act. Everything you bring out weighs something that takes up a space. So we've got to be conscious that we don't bring too much, but things like a first aid kit. Now, you are a long way from everywhere out here, and just your standard first aid kit that fits behind the seat's probably not quite good enough. So think a little bit broader about it, perhaps even talk to a nurse or a doctor you may know. Tell them where you're coming and ask them what they think you should bring out here, because the little things that happen on a day-to-day basis at home are dealt with quite easily, but out here they can turn into big things quite quickly, so make sure you bring a bit of gear to look after yourself health-wise. It's also important to stop on the side of the road every now and then. Not only is it a good stretch of the legs, but it's also a good time to check out your car and caravan.
When you're towing a caravan on these sorts of rough dirt roads, a good habit to get into is every time you pull up, get out and check your wheel bearings and your tyres aren't getting too hot. Best way to do that is to start with the back of your hand, touch the tyre. And if it's getting pretty hot there, you know there's not quite enough air in there, so you throw a bit of more air into it and check it again a bit later. As you work your way down, you can work your way towards the wheel bearing. Now be careful, because if it is hot, it's going to burn you, and that's why I say to do it with the back of your hand and not the front. With the front of your hand, your natural reaction if it's pretty hot is to grab it, and that's the last thing you want to do. You'll end up with burns on your hand. So touch it slowly in there and make sure it's not getting too warm.
It's a good idea on tracks like this to stop regularly and just make sure nothing's come loose or come open. Now, I've got to tell you, a couple of minutes ago, I hit a bull dust hole of biblical proportions and probably came as close as I've ever been to losing a caravan. Don't worry, George, everything's all right. But I do want to have a quick look inside and make sure not everything's strewn about. I've done all right. A few dirty clothes scattered on the floor and the cushions come off the lounge, but other than that, we're good to go. I'll just go and make sure everything else is all right. Well, that brings us to the end of the episode, but it doesn't bring us to the end of the journey, because next week we'll be making our way through to Fitzroy Crossing. It's all been brought to you thanks to our good mates at Lotus Caravans. So I'll catch you next time. Jump in for a drive as we show you what's up down under.
What's up down under?